What is up, chat? Deeper Depths here with the Deeper Level Podcast. Welcome. Listen, we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. I'm super excited. Going to bring my guest on in just a minute, but please make sure that you like and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell so you're notified every time that I go live and more content becomes available. I see some of you already in the chat. Alex Gurin Guy, aka What is Up, my man? How are you doing? Also, Sleeper Kid, I see you. That's it. Go ahead, put your name in the chat. Just let us know that you're here. Show us some love. I promise you, we are going to have fun tonight hanging out with my special guest. And we know that this is going to be a huge week. Now, of course, we're going to be discussing several things tonight, but we know that the highlight of tonight is going to be Marvel Spider-Man 2. I know you can't wait for it. We've been waiting for almost 2 years to get just a little bit more of a morsel, and we're going to get that this coming week. But without further ado, I want to introduce formally my guest tonight. He is a content creator as well as a YouTuber with a channel that has experienced great growth. He is a Spider-Man enthusiast and committed to keeping the community updated and well informed. He also recently started a podcast, which we're going to talk about tonight, called Spider Bros, with the first episode premiering today at 12 o'clock. So that should be live. You can look him up and check that out as soon as you get off of this podcast. We are honored to have him hang out with us today. And on the deeper level, help me welcome my very special guest, none other than Mr. Comic Blast Keenan. What's up, brother?
Thank you for having me on the channel. Like, I've been looking forward to this for the past, maybe 3 weeks since we talked about it. I've been a big fan of just watching your grind and content creation. It's definitely been like a motivation in my own pursuit of content creation. So thank you again for having me on here. I'm looking forward to all the topics we're going to be talking about today. It's going to be awesome.
Man, I really appreciate that, Keenan. Appreciate you taking time out of your schedule just to sit and chat with us again. You know, we know this is a huge week. And again, as it relates to just inspiration, I've been watching your channel and, you know, your design. It's really clean. Just the way that you present yourself, super professional. And I see that your channel has just taken off, man. You are almost at 10,000 subscribers. So listen, if you are watching this right now, I'm going to put a banner up. I want you to go and follow this young man, first of all, on Twitter. Hit his social there. You'll see that scrolling across the bottom of your screen, and then also hit his YouTube. Now, the name Comic Blast Keenan is just a cool name to me, man. What was the inspiration behind that? How did you come up with that?
It's so funny. So the actual beginning part, obviously Keenan's my name, if you didn't know already. The actual beginning part came from a podcast that me and my best friend started back in like 2019. It's just called the Comic Blast Podcast. I have no inspiration for that other than what you said. It sounds cool. So like, I wish I could say there's a cool meaning behind it, but there really isn't. So we did that for about 3 years, and we had like a good amount of success with it. But he ended up, and another friend of mine actually joined the podcast, but they both ended up doing the Disney partner or a Disney intern program or something like that. So they moved away. Yeah. So they moved away. They left me in my little small town of South Carolina by myself. And I'm like, I need to like talk about the things that I like to talk about with some people, because, you know, I don't have a lot of friends in the area interested in gaming or Spider-Man, whatever it may be. So I was like, heck, I'm going to make this podcast. Maybe Comic Blast comes back or not. People know me from Comic Blast, so I'll just do Comic Blast Keenan. And then it just transitioned to people calling me CBK in my comments. And then I'm just like going by CBK now, which is really cool. I like that. You know, my viewers have given me that little nickname or shortened it, however it may be.
Man, that is awesome. And let me tell you, shout out to just the people that support and rock with you, man. Let me tell you something. You have a great base of individuals. I'm telling you, I see a lot of activity even on your Twitter, a lot of activity even on your YouTube. So you definitely have some loyal supporters that are on your team, man. And I'm one of those people. Like I said, I check in to your live streams a lot of time. And, like I said, it's just incredible, man. And it's, refreshing, and it's just, good to see someone pumping out just good, clean entertainment, especially with so much, that's going on in society today. Now, we know that, again, you're not new to this, you're true to this. Having had the work ethic of 3 years doing that podcast, you're certainly no rookie to this, and that is a wealth of experience to have under your belt. You recently launched a new podcast now called Spider Bros, with the first episode premiering today. Tell us a bit about that.
So back to the whole podcast thing, my best friend got done with his internship, program at Disney, and he's back near where I am, and we both just had that, itch to do some sort of podcast, because I do miss doing the podcast. It's a little bit easier than having to like sit here and tediously edit videos. It's just like we're having a conversation. It's a lot of fun, like we're doing right now. I enjoy it a lot. So he's a big Marvel Spider-Man fan as well. So we're just like, hey, let's do this thing. I mean, like, it definitely felt like nobody else was necessarily doing a podcast only about Marvel Spider-Man, and that's it. So I was like, hey, we kind of have, this little niche that we could attack and give somebody, or give people who are really into the game, something that they can listen to that's more long form instead of the, short form that they're used to on YouTube. So yeah, that's what we're doing. And we did the first episode, and so far it's been pretty successful and people like it. So I'm really excited about it. We plan on just doing it up until the game's release, and maybe a few episodes after that. And then maybe, who knows, we'll do like a Wolverine podcast or whatever, comes to mind. So yeah, excited about it.
Man, that's good stuff, brother. And congratulations again on launching that new podcast. And I definitely cannot wait. As I stated, as soon as I'm off of this, I'm going to do an unboxing video, and then I'm certainly going to check out the episode. As you stated, there is no one else who's just doing anything strictly for Spider-Man. So I think that is a great niche. I met a guy named Seek. It's actually spelled Siike, who is doing a Venom podcast. He has like a Venom vlog that he does, and I actually was a guest on his show. And again, I had never seen anyone who just committed to a particular character. And I think, what a better person to choose, or character to choose, than Spider-Man, especially with what we have coming up. So we are 2 days away, chat. We're 2 days away, CBK, from the long-awaited PlayStation Showcase. Now, I saw something that Evan Falarka posted, which, he's both a mutual friend of mine and yours, and he stated that we're probably looking at a showcase that is on par with the 2016 PlayStation Showcase, which we know that was a showcase that just broke barriers. But I really do feel that we are in for a treat. How well will you sleep for the next couple days?
None at all. I mean, I couldn't actually sleep last night. Now that I think about it, I was up around like 4 a.m. just thinking about it. I'm just like, it's one thing to like get excited for it because we're excited for the games, but also like I'm excited to just sharing my excitement with the content creation side of it.
Yes.
So it's just like I'm thinking about what else can I do to get other people excited. I'm like, I got the live stream, got more videos coming and stuff like that. But overall, I mean, like you said, it's been 2 years since our last showcase, and I've gotten to the point where I've mentioned this before. I'm like, this game doesn't even feel real to me anymore. Speaking of Marvel Spider-Man, I'm just like, until I'm actually playing it or I see something, it doesn't feel real. It feels like a myth right now. Yes. And I just need that. I need that like validation that like, okay, this thing exists, and now I can really get excited for it. So I'm pumped, man.
Absolutely. And same here, like you said, it's not that we're emotionally checked out on it, but like you said, it almost seems like just an urban legend or something, just to keep hearing about it. But again, until we actually get our hands on it, I'm so glad though that this showcase is happening. Jeff Grubb had also dropped the dime maybe a few weeks ago that we could expect a showcase around this time, and he hit it spot on. Now, of course, we all know that Spider-Man 2 needs to be the centerpiece of the showcase. It needs to be built around that. Like, this doesn't need to be a 1 or 2 minute thing. Like, there needs to be, 5 to 10 minutes just elaborating on Marvel Spider-Man 2. But before we dive into that, is there anything else that you're looking forward to seeing at the showcase, or hopefully getting revealed?
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that I know aren't going to happen, but I'm a fanboy and I'm just going to hope anyways. And that's like Ghost of Tsushima 2. That's a game. The first game I didn't play it for the first 2 years it was out. And I hate that I didn't do that, but I played it and it instantly became like one of my top 5 favorite games I've ever played. And now I'm just addicted to the idea of that becoming a franchise. So I'm not sure if Sucker Punch is doing a sequel or maybe a spin-off game, whatever it may be. I'm down for whatever they're doing, but like Jin Sakai has become one of my favorite characters. I hope that there's something announced for that. It sounds like you've played the game as well and you're excited for something like that. And then, I think Wolverine's a long shot, but I'm still going to hope for it. It's been 2 years since this announcement. So if they decided they were going to drop like a 1.5-minute teaser or something like that, or maybe reveal the voice actor, I would be, over the moon excited. I think The Last of Us Factions is a big one that most people think is going to be there, or whatever the multiplayer game is for that. So those are like 3 things where I'm like, I'm going to be super pumped for. And then, of course, there's going to be something there that none of us are expecting to be there.
Right.
That's going to blow our minds. And that, I'm just excited for that, like the idea of something being there that's going to blow us all away. Maybe they end the showcase with it or do it right before Spider-Man. But those are like just the few things that I absolutely cannot wait to see. And I hope we see at the showcase.
Absolutely. Now, I'm totally with you on Ghost of Tsushima 2, or however that next installment is labeled. I do believe that, because Sucker Punch did a phenomenal job with the technology and the tools that they had to work with on the PS4 to make it look ahead of its time. So I have no doubt that the visual fidelity will be on par, if not greater than, for instance, Guerrilla's Horizon Forbidden West. That game was mind-blowing. Like, I just played through Burning Shores, and just the visual fidelity right now, that is king. I mean, there is not a game out that looks better than that game. But one thing that I'm hopeful for is what that game will look like as far as Ghost of Tsushima 2. Now, I'm also looking forward to seeing Stellar Blade. That seemed to have been on par with the visual fidelity of a Horizon Forbidden West. But with that being said, while we're on the subject of Ghost of Tsushima, because I know that there is supposed to be a live production in the works, whether they do it as a TV series or whether it's, actual movie. I do know that they confirmed that they'll do that. What I'm thinking is that maybe that will get announced first, because they want to get as much as they can out of Ghost of Tsushima 1. They want to get as much as they can in telling that origin story. So I think we'll see that first. And then, at a later time, they'll say, okay, hey, Ghost of Tsushima 2, because it's got to happen, man. That game, and I did not get it on release, just like you. I think it was like a year later when I played it. Now, I still have not played Iki Island, but the first Ghost of Tsushima, I did beat it, which I want to ask a question, because this is going to roll into Spider-Man 2. Jim Ryan said that Marvel Spider-Man 2 has been made with no compromises. Again, I think we're going to see one of the greatest games we've seen as far as next gen, meaning that they didn't have to sacrifice designing the game for both last generations and current generations consoles. And we see, with the Horizon Forbidden West, whenever you don't take compromises, there is a lot that you can do with a game like that. You have access to greater technology, and next gen doesn't only mean the game looks better, but also in terms of functionality that you can do more. So with Spider-Man 2, we're looking at a bigger map. We're looking at new boroughs that it's going to expand into. With that being said, do you think Spider-Man 2, because there's a couple things floating out there right now, will be co-op? And the reason why I say that is because the PlayStation blogs have confirmed that it won't be co-op. It'll just be a single player experience. But then there is the information that Najee Jeter shared in this most recent interview that just surfaced, stating that it may potentially be co-op. What is your take on that whole thing?
Man, I mean, Najee cannot stay out of the news when it comes to like these little hints and links, which partly I appreciate him for. considering we went 2 years without any news. So it was nice to overreact to every little thing that he said. But yeah, I mean, okay, I think actually Insomniac did reply to somebody today saying that it's a single player experience. So I think it's going to stay that way as far as the story goes. But I would not be surprised down the line if they had some sort of alternate experience where you could do co-op just for like, not for the story, but for, little mini games or whatever it may be. I mean, like I love my single player games, and I want Marvel Spider-Man 2 to just be a single player game. Like,
sure,
absolutely. But there is part of me that's like, well, it'd be pretty fun to, like, if me and you wanted to hop in New York City and just swing around and, like,
absolutely,
fight some crimes together. Like, that does sound pretty fun, but I would want that to almost feel just separate from the single player experience or just the game in general. So I'm not sure how they're going to do that. I know that they've, like, there's been some leaks. Some data miners have found that in Spider-Man Remastered that there was some, like, mini games that were co-op where you could play as Miles and Peter, but that obviously never came, to the game. So obviously Insomniac has kind of, like, either thought about it or toyed around with it. And who knows? I mean, maybe they had Najee record some things that maybe sounded like it could be co-op, but
right.
He hasn't played the game himself. He's the
Absolutely.
actor. Obviously, he knows way more than we could know about the game, but he's not actually back behind a computer developing the game. So I don't want to, like, throw any shade towards him, but there could have just been, like, a misunderstanding about it.
Sure.
I think.
Sure, absolutely. Because, these AAA titles nowadays are almost becoming like the MCU, where many times the actors themselves don't even really know what's going on. They know the plot from their perspective in the script that they were given to read, but they really don't know the totality of everything that is going to happen. Now, as it relates to Ghost of Tsushima, what they could do is that, like you said, Spider-Man 2, the initial game could be just a single player game, which, like you said, and I think it should be. But they could do like Ghost of Tsushima did with the Legends mode, to where after the fact there is another co-op experience that you could have. They could do that. Who knows? I know that's still up in the air, but whenever you start talking about a superhero game being co-op, it's a lot of mixed, reviews, and you see who stands on what side of the fence. But me personally, like you said, I would love to play through Marvel Spider-Man 2 as just a single player story, but then also have that option. Because again, Tony Todd, on my interview with him, specifically said to put a pin in 2024. He did not say why. He did not say what that was about. A lot of people automatically assumed that there was going to be a Venom spinoff game where you could play as Venom, kind of like they did Miles, a spinoff game. So, who knows? But again, maybe that is a co-op experience. I don't know. But anyway, something is coming in 2024 because this game is going to be huge. Let's see. Now, as far as Marvel Spider-Man 2 being the centerpiece, let's talk about Spider-Man 2 mechanics. If you had a wish list, and this was something that I saw in your live the other day that really caught my attention, and I think they ought to do. Dynamic weather should be a part of this game. Again, jumping back to Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores, they started to introduce thunderstorms in that DLC. Like you could see in the distance, a storm brewing. How cool would dynamic weather be for Spider-Man 2?
It's like atop my wish list with, like, expanding the map. Like, most of my wish lists don't involve anything story because I love to just let the writers, make the story that they want to and let us experience it. So I don't really, like, dive into, like, oh, I want this from the story perspective. But when it comes to actual gameplay and just, like, the immersion of the game, that's up there. And, like, my top 5 things that I absolutely want. And like you were saying, like, when it comes to Forbidden West or even Ghost of Tsushima, there are times in the game where you're just, sitting there on your horse or whatever it may be, and then you see, like, some dark clouds, and you're like, wait a second, it was just sunny a minute ago. And then next thing you know, the wind's blowing a little bit, and then here comes some light rain, and then now you're in a thunderstorm. And I would love that to happen in Marvel's Spider-Man because I just think that the power of the PS5 can be taken advantage of and do something like that where you're just swinging around in Manhattan, and next thing you know, you see the clouds getting a little bit darker, and then the storm hits, which storms is something that we needed in Marvel's Spider-Man in the first game to begin with, like some rainstorms. You had some light rain, and that was cool, but like, think about fighting Venom at night during a thunderstorm on the side of a building, rain's coming down as hard as possible. It's just like, those are just the little things that help you get more immersed in this experience. And the more real you can make it feel, the better, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I think that we're going to see that, because again, take this with a grain of salt, but not trying to read into this too much. But again, in my interview with Tony Todd, he said he was amazed at what Insomniacs Studios was able to do with the lighting. And, we know that lighting plays a big part of game development, knowing where to cast light, and things of that nature, shadows. So, if they did anything with the lighting as it relates to lightning, and again, he didn't say that, but just kind of reading into that, I think dynamic weather is something that we can expect. As it relates to wish list in game mechanics, what about traversal options? Like, I know the swinging needs to be on point. I mean, the swinging needs to go to another level, and I do believe that. But I saw someone play with the idea of Spider-Man having the web wings. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, web wings, I'll be honest, never been a huge fan of, but I do like the nostalgia factor of it and just more accessibility to people who want to play however they want to play. So, I won't be using web wings. Just like I'm not a big fan of the spider mechanical arms, but if other people like it, then that's totally fine too. I want everybody to have the ability to play and use Spider-Man the way that they want to. Web wings, though, I could see some, positives for it. I think web wings could be cool in Queens where there's not tall buildings to like actually go swinging from. Just kind of get through Queens a little bit faster through the web wings. That would be pretty cool as well. But I mean, people in my comments are always talking about web wings, like whether it be the live streams or the videos. It's a big thing that they want in traversal. So I'm not opposed to it at all, but I personally won't be using it. But like I said, more accessibility to play as Spider-Man the way that you want to play as him, the better.
Well said. Well said. Now here's one of the things that I think would be really, really cool. And again, it's not a big deal. I did a video on this, but I think it's something that, would be a unique feature. So Insomniac has built such a brand and such a reputation that even Marvel themselves are trusting them with the Wolverine IP. So they're basically at some point in time looks like we'll end up with their own universe of characters that they can develop games for it, because again, they are the best. I mean, they are one of the GOATs as it relates to development teams. With that being said, I think it's cool to where they built such a brand that when you walk through Times Square, I was looking at this the other night as I was playing Spider-Man Remastered, and I was walking through Times Square and I was seeing all of the digital signage, the posters and the advertisements. It almost seems like they built such a brand to where it would be cool to cross promote with that digital signage to show other PlayStation exclusive games, advertise. I mean, they're creating their own space. Now, again, that's not a make or break. They could just come up with mock advertisements and I'd still be satisfied. But I just think that would be a nice touch, to cross promote other PlayStation exclusives by using Times Square. I actually had a chance to visit New York a couple of years ago, well, about 3-4 years ago now. And it was the coolest thing when Shazam 1 was coming out, just to see Shazam on that 3D board. It was amazing. So I just think that the digital signage would be a cool touch. We can expect confirmed villains like Venom and Kraven, the Hunter. But what are some of your other sub-boss fights or appearances that you would like to see?
Yeah, I'll take them all. No, I mean, like, I think Mysterio is a big one for me just because of we're utilizing the PS5 and its power and like things that you can do with illusions. I mean, I'm not sure if you played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, but like
Yes, I did.
that game, yeah, it's a little trippy in a way at sometimes when you're like, going through different dimensions and stuff like that. And I thought Insomniac nailed that, and the visual style was just like breathtaking. So I think they could really do something really cool with Mysterio. But that would be diving into like, again, some of his villains that he's already had a history with, which I'm fine with. It's cool that he's 8 years in the making, or probably now 10 years as Spider-Man at this point in time. But it's cool that he has a history with those villains. But sometimes I'm like, I want to play those villains for myself, So Mysterio is definitely a big one for me. And I think that there's still some potential for Kingpin. Kingpin's another like big Spider-Man villain. So I'm not sure if like I need to have Kingpin in the game like physically, but I want to actually still feel his presence within New York City the way that we kind of felt it still in the first game, where there's still like some shady things going on that is connected to Kingpin, because he's always going to have his like hand in the city, So those are probably like two ones that like I definitely want to see. And I think that there's also potential for Chameleon, being that he's like, I guess he's the half brother of Kraven. So Chameleon's another villain that this version of Spider-Man's already had a history with. So, most of those villains that I want to see are just villains that he already has a history with, but I haven't got to play against myself. And I'm sure you'll probably bring up Lizard. I think there's potential for that too. We already know that Professor Connors is in this universe. So we got him in the post-credit scene for, was it Miles Morales? I can't remember. I should know this, but I think it's Miles Morales one. Yeah. So I think that is definitely more than likely going to happen. What about you?
So me personally, I would like to see, I think the Wraith is likely to happen, a battle with her, because again, she was already up to, Wraith type things with the first one. So I think that's something we could see. Kingpin is high on my list. I definitely want to see Fisk again. And, like you said, even if he's not a playable character, still just him being in the lore, him controlling things, like you said, doing things behind the scenes, pulling strings. I think we could potentially see maybe some more of Hammerhead. That is possible. In the comic, did you read the prequel comic with the Hood?
I haven't yet. I was sick when that comic came out, so I wasn't able to get to the comic book store, but I did have one of my subscribers send it to me, and it's coming from overseas, so it's going to take a little bit of time, but I've kind of like caught up on the synopsis of it. So I've caught up on like the Hood being one, and I think that's a great point. He could end up being one of the villains in the game.
Absolutely. I mean, it is very likely that he could end up in the game. So that's kind of who I'm looking forward to. Of course, Venom, everybody's favorite symbiote. I know it's going to steal the show again. I think Tony Todd was perfect casting as the voice of Venom. You couldn't have nailed it any better than that. Let me speak to a couple of people right quick that just came in and chimed in. Matthew Lopez, what is up, brother? Gary Davis, what's happening, man? Rage. And Joseph Whitty, our guy. What is up, Whitty? He is in the chat, everybody. Hero Mentor, what is good? Yes, sir. Now, if I was a betting man, CBK, I would wager on the fact that this is 2023's game of the year. What are your thoughts about that? I mean, do you see anything? Because I'm looking at what's already come out, and I'm looking at what's announced. And again, 2023 is a heavy year. We've hit another golden era of games. I mean, this is a year for fighting games. Mortal Kombat 1 just got announced. But do you think this game takes it all for game of the year?
I mean, it better be. No, I mean, like, there are some seriously, like, there are some heavy hitters. And I think that I feel like Insomniac deserves one. I think Jedi Survivor had a chance, but it had a lot of issues for some people at launch, and it kind of, had a rough start to its launch because of that. However, the story was just phenomenal, and I definitely think it deserves it. The only thing that, and I'm not an Xbox guy at all, but the only thing that could compete, like Starfield would have to absolutely crush it. It would have to be an amazing game to compete with Spider-Man, in my opinion, because there's so much going for Spider-Man right now. Insomniacs just like going up and up from here, and they've done nothing but deliver great game after great game for the past few years, and I just feel like they deserve this one this year. So it's probably going to be something like Starfield. If they don't absolutely crush it with Starfield, then it's over. It's Spider-Man for me. Like, I'm looking at the lineup, unless there's some like games that I'm just not aware of right now that end up being amazing, I think it's got to be Spider-Man 2.
Absolutely. And here's my thing about Starfield. I think it's definitely a contender according to what we've heard about the game. But I think the issue with that is that they're trying to do so much that there's going to be bugs that kill them. You know,
they always have them too.
Absolutely. It was just like Cyberpunk 2077. I mean, you know, it was a nightmare with bugs. You know, now I will say they turned the game around. I was very impressed because I played Cyberpunk 2077 through the bugs. So I endured it and beat the game. Well, then when they came out with the next gen update, I played through it a second time and the experience was phenomenal. So I just think that Starfield, there's so much going on in it that, you know, there's going to be some quirks, as it has been so far with every game that has come out. There's always been some type of issues. But again, I feel so confident about Insomniacs Spider-Man 2 because, again, Jim Ryan specifically said that there was no compromises with this game. And again, like they said on their social media account, I know everybody's bugging them to show something, which this was about a month ago, but they was like, hey, let us cook, let us work. You know, you can't rush greatness, which Najee Jeter said several times, trust the process. But we are literally 2 days away. What's going to go through your mind, man? The first moment that you see that they're going to show something about Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I mean, like that Insomniac logo just comes up and my heart's racing. Like, I'm just thinking about it right now. And I think that I don't know what's on my mind, but I know that there's a lot of nerves because there's just so much riding on this trailer because we haven't seen something for so long. And, you know, they really have to deliver with this. This is like one of the most anticipated game trailers I can think of. Like the fact that like people have been bugging Insomniac admins on Twitter nonstop for 2 years about something like a trailer. And it's the same answer every time. It's just like, you better nail it with this because, you know, there's a lot riding on it. I mean, like we're just ready to explode and give this game all the praise in the world. So we just need you to validate that and give us a reason to just like blow up the internet with our praise for this game. So it's just a lot of nerves. I hope it lives up to like, you know, most people's expectations. And that's all I have to say about that.
Absolutely. Live up to the expectations and the hype. Because again, a lot is riding on this. And I know that Insomniac knows that. Like they understand the assignment. That's why they were on point with their casting. This game is going to literally blow us away. I mean, it has the potential Wednesday. If there's anything that could break the internet, I mean, the posting, the content, and I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, Keenan, is that now is the best time to be a content creator. You know, with this PlayStation Showcase coming up, people literally have the potential to grow their channels. Like how instrumental has Spider-Man been just with growing your channel? Since you've been covering that game, have you seen an increase?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I kind of created my channel back in, I want to say February of 2022, where there was no news at all. And I'm just like coming up with ideas and things to cover and wish list videos and just discussion points. And, you know, just trying to get a dialogue going for this game where the news was really dry. And I haven't seen a major change in when it comes to like numbers or anything like that of the Marvel Spider-Man fans already. But there are like some, I think I got all the diehard fans right now, like watching me.
Yeah.
But I think that there's some people that are going to like, their interest is going to be piqued and they're going to want to keep up with this game. And once that trailer comes, I mean, I don't know what it will do for my channel. It might go skyrocket, or all the bigger YouTubers are going to make their videos and I'm just going to be buried at the bottom. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me because I started this channel with the intention of just getting to talk to people about this game. And
Yes.
that's all I care about. So when I get on my live stream, and whether it's 5 people or 70 people or 100 people that show up to it, like the fact that people sit there and just talk to me and bounce theories off and like ask me about the game is really all that I need. Like getting the numbers is great. Like it definitely makes me feel good about what I'm doing and that people like it. But when it comes down to it, like I'm just passionate about this game. And I decided to like, I decided to create my channel knowing that there was probably like only so much that I can get with this channel, you know, whether it be 100 subscribers or, you know, I didn't expect to get 1 million subscribers talking about Marvel Spider-Man because I went super niche and I'm like, I'm going to be that guy for Marvel Spider-Man. I'm like, that's all I'm going to have. So if you're into that and you want to just talk about Marvel Spider-Man, you know, you can come to my channel and we can have a discussion about it. I'm not going to be posting about much else. So that's all it's really about for me.
Man, that is awesome, Keenan. You know, you definitely have your head in the right space because, again, it's all about having fun, you know, enjoying the journey. That's kind of how I am even with my channel. It's just been fun for me. You know, it's been challenging for me. And, you know, to build a channel like you did when there was no news is a testament to your work ethic, and to be where you are when there was no information to share. You have been super, super creative about this process. And that's why it was so important that we have you on. Listen, I'm scrolling this again across the bottom. Please go right now. If you do not follow Comic Blast Keenan on social media, follow him on Twitter, also connect with his YouTube. They just launched a podcast, Spider Bros, which the first episode premiered today at 12. That is now live on his channel. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to do an unboxing video and I'm going to hop in there to check it out. Listen, peeps, we are literally 2 sleeps away from Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and probably one of the biggest PlayStation showcases in history. Share your hype. Appreciate each and every one of you for being in the chat. I want to keep my integrity with the timeline that I requested from this young man tonight. Listen, I see more comments saying that Final Fantasy indeed is a contender for Game of the Year. Now, personally, I've always been a Final Fantasy fan. So that's always a passion for me. I'm betting on Spider-Man 2, though. If I was a betting man, I'm betting on Spider-Man 2, but Final Fantasy 16 is definitely going to be huge. Listen, appreciate you all for tuning in and checking us out. CB Keenan, I'm going to give the final thoughts to you, sir. Is there anything that you want to promote, anything that you want to close with, let people know how to connect with you? The floor is yours, sir.
I think you nailed it with all my Twitter and social media links, and I do appreciate that. If you guys haven't checked out my channel, if you want to come talk about Marvel Spider-Man with me, I'm welcome to it. But other than that, I can't wait to see everybody else get excited for this showcase, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I know you and I are going to enjoy it. So I just thank you for having me on your channel and this podcast. I've been really looking forward to it for like weeks now, and I'm sure it's definitely not going to be the last time that we collab, whether it's over at my channel or back over here at some point in time.
Man, awesome, brother. I'm here, man. And, you know, it's just been a beauty to make your acquaintance, man. And I'm so glad that we connected. Now, you will be streaming the showcase, correct? Can people tune into your channel and watch the showcase with you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. 3:30. I'm going to start my stream 30 minutes before it. If you don't watch my stream, there's so many other people that are going to be doing streams. Joseph Whitty, definitely go check him out, or check us all out and come say hi to everybody. And News to Astonish. There's going to be a lot of great streams out there, a lot of great reactors. So if it's not with me, definitely check out some of my friends who are doing it as well. And then keep up with everybody's coverage after it. I'm just looking forward to seeing what everybody comes up with over the next like week or so. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, peeps. Deeper Depths and Comic Blast Keenan for another episode of the Deeper Level Podcast. Listen, make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel. Also, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I go live and more content becomes available. This is Deeper Depths and Comic Blast Keenan. We are officially signing out, and we will see you again on the next stream. Peace.